My name is John J Russo. J stands for Joseph. Number 7 out of 9 brothers and sisters. My parents are both Italian, so I'm 100% Italian. Born and raised Catholic and continue to practice my faith now. Graduate from St. Edward High School, graduate from John Carroll University. I always tell people the best of both worlds, both the Holy Cross upbringing in St. Ed's as well as the Jesuit upbringing at John Carroll. So I'm the best of both worlds. I'm the fairest person that you could ever have in an argument. So I have a wife. My wife and I will be celebrating 33 years of marriage here in about 2 weeks. And we've been together 38 years, 3 wonderful children. JJ's a junior. He's 28 years old. My son Jacob Anthony is 27 years old. My daughter Abby is going to be 23. And all 3 of them keeping themselves busy. I am a judge. I've been a judge for 19 years here in Cuyahoga County. Before that, 12 years as a private practicing lawyer. Yeah, so my journey it does not start with Journey. It starts with Bruce Springsteen. So the 9 of us, grew up in a small home, west side of Cleveland, and Dad worked and Mom raised the 9 of us. My dad worked for the Veterans Administration. Spent a lot of time with him Saturday mornings when someone needed clothing or needed a place to live, and we'd go down to the VA and pick somebody up and take them to sometimes to our house or sometimes to other people's house temporarily. But Mom was really influential in my life. We were members of St. Malachy Church down on West 25th. My mom and dad started the food bin that was started there, the Monday night meals, the donut window that we would serve food from the windows. The very first Monday night meal, my mom and dad made spaghetti for over 100 people. 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, I went to school at St. Malachy's, and my brothers and sister, or my 2 sisters, went to St. Malachy and St. Gwendolyn and St. Pat's. Really influential for me, really was a turning point for me with my journey. I probably had early on in life a couple really faithful experiences. My 8th grade confirmation and being confirmed. When I went on to St. Ed's, I had been through a path at St. Malachy's where I could have easily went down a bad path versus the path I ended up taking. While I was at St. Ed's, actively involved in a number of things at St. Ed's, the priesthood became real viable for me as some opportunity for me to give back in life as a priest. And so I started to mentor with the St. Malachy priest who was Father Ritz. I think the opportunity to have Father Ritz really direct me. Father Ritz was unique too, a priest and a lawyer. So he was a lawyer as well. And this idea of being a public servant was, well, let me say this, of being a servant, whether I be a servant of the Lord through priesthood or a servant of the Lord as a father in married life, was always intertwined in my life. And when I had the opportunity to choose law school as an option, look, as a judge, you don't bring religion to decision making, but it doesn't get removed from who you are as a person. And so one of the things that I usually start with is, I'm a judge, but my brother served 3 years in prison for drug trafficking. My brother-in-law died of an overdose of fentanyl on Christmas morning. Death of loved ones, a mom who died from Alzheimer's and MS. So you got all that you do, that you have in your everyday, right? So I'm not saying woe is me. I'm saying, hey, we're in this together. Yeah, so I won't cry, but I'll share this because I was thinking about this the other day. So my middle guy, Jacob Anthony, so we knew in utero that he had a major heart condition. although we weren't sure what that condition was initially. We knew it was major. We knew that upon his birth, he would have emergency surgery, and we'd have to deal with whatever the end result. So that took a lot of prayer, anger. Why is this happening to us? Why is this something that we have to deal with? Acceptance, and then really just offering your hands to let it happen. Right? He has that first surgery, and we're told soon he'll have a second surgery, and it was that second surgery, which maybe 3 or 4 years after he was born, that the doctor at the Cleveland Clinic, my son was put on a heart what's it called? Not transplant. Bypass machine. 8 hours, and we knew something was wrong. And he came out, and he said, 8 hours. I'm having trouble. And he said, I just can't get it to connect. And so we're like looking at him, we're crying. Everybody's there. My family, my wife's family's there. And he says, I may have to keep him on the bypass, and we may have to look for a heart transplant. But I need something to eat. I need to think about this, and I'll be back. And he comes back, an hour, 10 minutes later, something like that, and he says, I got it. I know what I need to do. I'm going back in. And he goes back in, and another 3 hours or 3.5 hours, he comes back out and says, I got it done. My mom, I had an uncle, my dad's brother, Uncle Tony. But my Uncle Tony was really instrumental for me, and my mom. Nice. Of course, Father Ritz was huge in my life. The best advice is to be a good listener, and being a good listener, you can be then an advocate for the person who you're listening to. She'd always tell me to slow down. I don't know if I listen to that right now. I think the wisdom I would want to say is, we're this little bit of what this world has been and what it is now and even into the future. And to affect somebody and to leave them with, like I say to my kids, I don't want you to remember me for maybe what I've done or the things that I've left behind. I want you to remember me for what I did with you, what I did to make you who you are today. I want you to be able to say, my dad taught me this. Be able to say that I have done that, not only to my kids, my wife, or you, or someone I come into contact in the courtroom. My bit of wisdom is being able to say to someone, what is it that you have taken from my life, that you've intertwined, and that you can truly speak of about how I affected your life? We should strive to do that daily so that it's a positive. And if you've intertwined a spot of negative, how do you change that? We have a connection to some of the biggest movies that have ever been produced in the United States, in the Marvel movies. So the Russo brothers are related to us, and so their dad is my first cousin. So my Uncle Tony, who I told you was a big influence in my life, his sons are Basil and a few other who are in politics. Basil's sons are Anthony and Joe Russo, and so we have had opportunities to cheer their successes. And every movie they make, they film, or majority of the movies they make, they do come back to Cleveland to film portions of those movies, and who gets to be in the movies. Thank you.
Thanks for doing it. I appreciate it.
We're out. That's Hendrix.